What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've made a V-Rising video, and to be honest, it's been kind of hard to find good content right now in the NA region. But we're getting kind of close to V-Rising's 1.1 update, so I wanted to take some time and address some of my biggest hopes. The biggest change I'm thinking about is with the UI. I haven't seen this addressed yet in the dev blogs, and there are some pretty big problems with the UI, and I'll get into that in a minute. But primarily I'm talking about buff and debuff tracking above player nameplates. Here's what I'm talking about. Currently we have this UI element above the nameplate that displays an active buff in text as well as a fading timer underneath. However, this UI element can only ever display one piece of information at a time. So this becomes really problematic, primarily in PvP, but there's also some instances in PvE where this could be handy. This change, rather. I give 100 examples, but if we talk about buffs, so for this example, we can see Blood Rage and Power Surge are being casted, but Blood Rage is sort of taking prio over Power Surge, and we only see Power Surge once Blood Rage is faded. Now, that's just the concept. For these buffs, it's not that much of an issue. People understand that you're being buffed, and also there's a shield around your character visually, so you can kind of see that you're also Power Surged. But what happens if you get Soul Burned, for example? Well, Soul Burn also shows on this same UI element that you've been silenced. However, if you're Blood Raged, it won't show you the silence. You won't know, or at least the information won't be as clear. If you have a Blood Rage active and someone nearby casts Soul Burn, maybe you think you're like on the edge right outside of it, or maybe you're just playing on medium to high ping, like 100+ ping. You could play as if you were not hit by the Soul Burn because it didn't look like you were, and you also don't have the information in the UI element because it's already being used for other information. So you try to cast something and then you trigger the Soul Burn, the silence, the mini silence. So Blood Rage will have hidden the timer, therefore obscuring important information in this mess of UI clutter and this shortcoming for this one UI element. Now that's just one example. Other effects that show here are, for example, freeze, fear, in caps. I mean, it's all the same thing. They show above this UI element. And it's not just for you. I mean, think about having this information for 8 players in a 4v4. What I'm proposing is a UI design similar to other PvP games of a similar nature to V-Rising. Like World of Warcraft, for example, is one pretty much everyone understands. Instead of having this like primitive one slot UI element, I've edited this clip so it shows little fading icons in the same UI space. Of course, these could be scaled up and down. It's just sort of a concept, proof of concept. But you get the idea. This would allow you to see multiple active buffs on enemies and allies, and if small enough, would only take the same amount of UI space that's already being used for those buffs with like the text and the fading timer. I think this little change alone is a huge upgrade to the UI, and personally I think this should have been in the game since 1.0 or even before. Another adjacent topic is debuffs. I'm really talking about like spell tree debuffs, so ignite, chill, condemn, static, those debuffs. They're displayed visually on the player model, but again, there's only ever room for one to be displayed. They don't like stack on top of each other. If you chill someone and ignite them, you don't really see both. they override each other visually. I think buffs and debuffs can both be displayed here actually. When you're in a team fight in PvP, you really only have like, I don't know, 2 to 5, usually around 5 tops. Sometimes, you know, it's insanely chaotic and there's more stuff happening, but on the regular, you usually have like maybe 2 to 5 active buffs. And by active buffs, I mean like Blood Rage, Power Surge, you know, stuff like that. I'm not including like Rage Potion or Witch Potion. Those don't really count, but 5 active buffs, and then you have 6 spell trees, all with a like an elemental effect. So I think you could also add these to the same bar, and even if there is a cap of like 10 that can be displayed, it's still way more information than literally the one piece of information that you're currently getting from that UI element. So even if it still doesn't allow for absolutely everything to be displayed, like the UI element above your action bar, it's still way better than nothing. Anyways, I'd like to hear you guys' take on the topic. I think this change could be pretty beneficial to the game, especially since they seem to be focusing on PvP in the next update. I did reach out to Jeremy Bearson, the community manager, and he said they might have something in store for 1.1. We've been waiting quite a while for a solid PvP update or patch, so I'm really hoping that they get this right. That's it for now though. If you're still hanging around, thanks for hearing me out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.